Hello, everybody. My name is Joanna Ori, and I am in the research team at the Organic Farming Research Foundation. I'm so pleased to get to talk about our National Organic Research Agenda today. And we're going to start the presentation with a little bit of background about the organization for those of you who may not be as familiar with our work. Then I'm going to talk about our new report and our research recommendations that came out of that work. If you have any questions during the course of this presentation, please write them in the chat window and we'll record them and we'll be able to answer them in our question and answer session. OFRF, the Organic Farming Research Foundation, was founded in 1990, and we have been the leading champion of organic family farmers. And we do this through our work in research, education, and policy. Our mission is to foster the improvement and widespread adoption of organic farming systems. And our vision is that organic farming will be the leading form of agriculture. And this will help have healthy and resilient people, ecosystems, and economies. To achieve this mission and our vision, we work in these three key areas. Not only are we a grant maker, but here at OFRF, we also do our own original research. Our work has taken the form of several surveys of organic farmers, listening sessions, writing reports, and we do this to identify the organic farming challenges and direct research in those areas. Like I said, we also fund research projects that are relevant and responsive to organic farmers' needs. We also have a strong education and outreach part of our organization, where we share research results both from projects that we have funded and from cutting-edge organic research projects funded by the USDA and other organizations, because we want farmers to have access to research results and new tools that might be applicable for their operations. We also have worked hard to integrate organic farming programs into colleges and universities. We're very proud of our policy work, and we advocate for increased investment in organic research because we want to ensure that research funding matches the organic farmers' priorities. We think it's very important that there is organic-specific research, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the next couple of slides. Our own grant-making program was one of the first programs that was created to fill this need of organic-specific research. Since our funding began, we have funded over $3 million for 332 research projects. These research projects were started as small projects, and they've grown to be very influential and have long-term impacts in organic farming. For example, our funded projects have gone to create new systems for disease and insect pest management. There have been some very strong breeding programs, breeding organic-friendly vegetable and grain varieties, and we've also had many projects that have looked at soil health and how to improve soil health in organic farming. These are just a few examples of the types of projects that we have funded, and we have a complete list of the different projects available on our website in our research database. We're very happy that these research results are free and open to the public and available to farmers who can use the results and try new things in their operations. Like I mentioned, we see a strong need for organic-specific research. Consumer demand for organic food is growing, and the organic agriculture only makes up a small percentage of USDA research spending. We think it's really important that the amount of spending that goes into organic is closer to the actual percentage of organic farming in the United States. So we really think this small percent of USDA research funding should increase to better match the demand and growth in the organic sector. Organic farmers have unique needs and challenges. These have to do with pest management, soil health, and the entire organic farming system on farm practices that are unique from conventional farming. However, research on organic systems is applicable to all farming systems, including conventional systems that can become more sustainable and learn from lessons that come from organic research. This year, we have created 2 new reports. One is called Taking Stock, Analyzing and Reporting Organic Research Investments. This report was an in-depth analysis of 189 organic agriculture research, education, and extension projects that were funded by the USDA Organic Research and Extension Initiative and the Organic Transitions Program. What we found in this report is that there has been a lot of progress already made, that this effort has been very valuable, that new impacts have come forth from this organic research, but that there's still a great need for increased research in organic farming. We asked ourselves, after putting together this report, what areas should the future of research focus on to best meet the needs of organic farmers? To answer that question, we started a project called the 2016 National Organic Research Agenda. This project is a comprehensive analysis of the challenges facing today's organic farmers. This report is an update of the National Organic Research Agenda from 2007. In the past, we have done surveys and put together these research agendas, and we found that they've been very valuable in leading and guiding the course of organic research at universities and at the USDA. And so we thought it was time to reevaluate the areas where we have made progress and those areas that remain key topics for organic research. This report has recommendations for ensuring research funding that will be relevant and responsive to the needs of organic farmers. In this webinar, I'm going to talk a little bit about the methodology we use in creating our new report. And then I'm going to go into the different recommendations, the major production research recommendations, the environmental research recommendations, the economic and marketing recommendations, and then recommendations for how to best do outreach and education with farmers. For our report, we had several different pieces of information that went into crafting our recommendations. One of our exciting methods was a survey that was sent to all organic farmers and ranchers that were listed on the National Organic Program website of certified organic farms. This is about 6,000 growers that we emailed, and we had a tremendous response rate of over 1,000 farmers. We're really excited that so many farmers participated in our survey and gave their feedback and input into what types of research would be most valuable for them. We also held 21 listening sessions nationwide. We really wanted these listening sessions to represent the different regions of the United States, and so they were well spread out in different parts of the country. In addition, we reviewed and integrated different recommendations from other organizations, such as the National Organic Standards Board and others, to help create a very comprehensive report that took into consideration the expertise of other groups. The respondents to our survey, there was a wide variety in the size of operations, and the median size was about 48 acres. We had a lot of participation. We had people that participated from every single U.S. state, and it was pretty much evenly spread throughout the different regions. Overall, we're very excited to present our different priority areas that we recommend additional funding. These areas include soil health and fertility management, weed management, the nutritional benefits of organic food, specifically looking at consumer benefits, insect management, disease management, and then continuing on, the impacts of GMOs and strategies to avoid contamination, the efficacy and sustainability of different approved products, livestock health, especially parasite control and organic nutrition, and then marketing and economic barriers to successful organic production. I'll highlight this last topic as one that we really tried to hone in on in our survey to get some understanding of what the most pressing challenges are for farmers in terms of marketing and economics. And I'll go into that at the end of our, towards the end of this presentation. We collected very interesting data from all 4 regions, and our report includes detailed information from the 4 regions, which are available in the appendices section of the report. If you would like to learn more about your specific region, you can refer to those areas of the report where you can learn about specific pest problems and what the biggest challenges are in your region. However, there were many overlaps in the biggest priorities. In all 4 regions, the topics of soil health and weed control were among the top concerns for farmers and the areas they wanted the most research. But there were also some discrepancies and highlights that certain regions experienced more than others. For example, this survey was given in 2015 during July, during the summer months, in the middle of a multi-year drought in California. In the western region, because of that drought, irrigation and how to manage water in organic farming, especially as it related to soil health, was a major priority. In the north central region, they had a specific concern with GMO contamination, especially for farmers that grew corn and soy. They wanted to know what the best methods for GMO avoidance were, as a higher priority than other topics. In the Northeast, there was a high level of concern for weed control, even greater than for other regions. And in the southern region, it really stood out as the region where there is a great need for marketing and economic information. I'm now going to go into the national recommendations and research priorities. Overall, in our survey, soil health stood out as the area where farmers wanted more research. 74% of farmers in the survey rated soil health as a high research priority. Based on the information we collected, we developed specific recommendations for research. These include defining soil health criteria, researching best practices for coping with climate variability, developing tools for rapid measurement of soil health, investigating the relationship between soil quality and crop management practices. This includes different types of tillage, cover cropping, crop rotations, and other practices that farmers wanted to know about and how they relate to long-term soil health. Farmers also wanted to know about the efficacy of different soil amendments for building soil fertility and enhancing yield. And in that last point, not only did they want to know about the efficacy, but they also wanted to know about the economic efficiency and cost benefit of different products. Weed control is another major area where we want to see prioritization of research funding. Specifically, we would like to see research on how weed infestations are impacted or enhanced by different soil management practices, crop rotation, cover cropping, crop livestock integration, and the use of different inputs. We would also like to see research on the most economically efficient ways to manage weeds in organic systems. This point about economic efficiency seemed very prevalent in our open-ended responses when asked about weed control. Farmers expressed the great economic toll of controlling weeds, and they wanted to have more cost-effective methods for dealing with weed infestations. In our survey, specific weeds that seemed very problematic include Jimson weed, Canada thistle, field bindweed, pigweed, and lamb's quarters. If you would like to know about specific weed problems that were reported in different regions, those are available in the regional reports. One of the farmers wrote in, "Weeds are killing me. I need better ways to control them in row crop production." This quote was a common comment that farmers wrote in about weed control. 67% of respondents rated weed control as a high priority for research. And organic farmers need research on how to control weeds, especially in a cost-effective manner. Another major area for increased research is on insect pest control. Specific areas for research include looking at different varieties, plant varieties with insect resistance for organic production, researching the impact of rotations and how that influences insect pressure, looking at beneficial insect habitat through using green manures, field borders, and other habitat plantings, so really increasing habitat on organic farms, specifically for beneficials. And then looking at that impact of beneficials on crop yields and how that's going to help farmers overall when they have diverse habitat and increased beneficial insects on the farm. And lastly, control of insects in organic fruits in the humid eastern U.S. was a priority for that eastern region. The most frequently reported problematic insect pests were aphids, flea beetles, ants, bagrata bugs, and cucumber beetles. These were just a few that were highlighted. And if you want to learn more, we have a breakdown of different insect pests in the different regions, especially those that have become invasive and very problematic in recent years. Livestock and animal agriculture research is an area that OFRF recommends increased research. It's something that we have looked at, and it has been understudied by both the USDA-funded research projects and within our own grant-making program. Organic livestock and animal producers face particular issues of concern related to food safety standards, animal health, and veterinary care. We think that there are several areas that we could really benefit from increased research. These include looking at the efficacy of available treatments, therapies, and approved products, the impact of grass-based systems on animal disease, and the cause and prevention of lameness on organic farms. Continuing on, we would like to see more research on parasite prevention on pastures, integrated livestock crop systems, looking at both food safety and pest disease suppression, and then effective treatment options for poultry and disease. One area where we think that there could be a lot of attention is looking at organic inputs. This was an area that farmers highlighted to us as really wanting to know about the best types of inputs that they could use on their farms that would both be environmentally beneficial and economically efficient. So examining the environmental impacts of different inputs and looking at how cost-effective they are is a really high priority. Our survey found that 20% of growers never or rarely have access to organic seed. So this is one of the topics that we would like to see more research on, is looking at organic seed availability and how that can be increased. Additionally, we would like to see research on biodegradable mulches, the efficacy of environmental impact of biopesticides, and the efficacy of organic soil amendments. We have also done, we asked farmers several questions about their environmental research priorities. One of the top areas for more research had to do with GMO and pesticide drift impacts. 3.3% of farmers reported having a shipment of product rejected due to pesticide spray drift. And 2.2% of farmers reported having a shipment of product rejected due to GMO contamination. Now, the percentage of GMO contamination is maybe even much higher for farmers in the north central region where they're growing crops like organic soy and corn. These GMO and pesticide drift impacts have economic repercussions for farmers, and OFRF recommends increased research onto those impacts. One farmer stated, "A neighbor planted GMO alfalfa right next to our alfalfa fields. We are asking ourselves, what do we do now?" Farmers, like the one in this quote, expressed a sense of not knowing how to cope with the threat of GMO contamination. Not only are there the direct costs of losing a shipment because of GMO contamination, but also there are costs associated with avoidance practices. OFRF recommends increased research on the environmental and economic impacts of GMOs and pesticide drift on organic farmers, as well as strategies for avoidance. Another environmental topic that was very important to farmers had to do with pollinator health. Pollinator health is an important issue because it has to do with both protecting bees and native pollinators, as well as building habitat. Our specific research recommendations have to do with looking at pesticide contamination of honeybees, and then training, public awareness, building and placing of nest boxes, and planting of beneficial insects to try and promote pollinator health and habitat. And then we would like to see more research on the relationship between pollinator health and crop yields. This was an important issue for 42.3% of surveyed farmers, where they would really like to know how to make their farms diversified in terms of habitat and a healthy place for pollinators. Our research also looked at the economic and social marketing questions that farmers had. This 2016 NORA report included an analysis of the economic and marketing questions, and we recommend several topics for important further study. These include how to decrease barriers to entrance into agricultural production, the needs of minority producers and women farmers and ranchers. These groups are making up a greater percentage of the agricultural workforce, and we recognize that their needs might be unique. We would like to see more research on how to balance economic and environmental needs. Many of the farmers expressed wanting to do environmentally beneficial practices, such as cover cropping and creating habitat for pollinators, but they felt an economic pressure that made it harder for them to implement those practices. We'd really like to study this balance of how we can promote both economic prosperity for organic farmers and the adoption of environmentally beneficial practices. We also think it's very important to study the retention of current producers, market entry for new and transitioning farmers, and how to entice new farmers and ranchers. For example, We would like to look at questions having to do with land and financing, economic support, and training and long-term mentoring. We also recommend research on ways to decrease the loss of agricultural lands in rural areas and increase the revitalization of urban agriculture. Part of our research into the marketing and economic research desires of organic farmers also had to do with farmers wanting to really see an increase in research that has to do with consumers. Well, they wanted to know what consumers wanted in terms of products and also how to best educate them about the benefits of organic food. Specific research needs having to do with the benefits of organic food focused on the nutritional quality of organic food and wanting to communicate certain environmental and health benefits to consumers. For example, one of the specific research needs is consumer education regarding the health benefits of organic food and environmental benefits. Farmers wanted to know about economic research on marketing of organic milk products. Market research on organic grain was another very important topic, including the environmental and social impacts of production. This extends to the topic of importation from other countries and how U.S. farmers can remain competitive. And then there was also a very strong interest in research on food safety in organic farming. We asked farmers about the Food Safety Modernization Act. 34% of respondents said they were not at all familiar with the act. Those that were familiar expressed a worry that the act would have some significant impact on their operations, with 75% of growers saying that they expect a significant impact. One farmer stated, "We are too small to be required to implement the Food Safety Modernization Act, but if buyers require certification, we'll have issues with the cost of certification and possibly around the presence of wildlife." So there was some concern about balancing wildlife on organic farms and how this act might affect farms at different scales, even directly or indirectly. Another farmer stated, "We need to determine at what cost the other non-regulated labels which make claims of quality affect sales of organic products." This was another topic that farmers expressed having to do with consumer education, and that is the integrity of the organic label and how that might be affected by different labels. So we've learned about many different areas that farmers want more research and that we recommend the USDA and our own grant-making program and others really focus on. And we really hope that we will have great increases in research in these different areas that I just presented. And then the natural question came to us, how can we best share research results of new production practices and marketing practices with the farmers? We asked farmers how they prefer to learn and get information. We had almost 1,000 farmers respond to an open-ended question about their primary source of production and marketing information. And what we found is that other farmers are the most trusted and desirable source of information. They're being used in networks where farmers are sharing information. Organic certifiers are also very important, followed by growers associations and university researchers. You can see here in this graph that information from other farmers is highly valued and used. This really highlights for us the need to create strong farmer-to-farmer networks where they can share information and support one another. One farmer stated, I get my information from other farmers. Extension is helpful, but usually a bit behind many farmers in assessing production techniques. We also found in our survey that organic farmers, the majority of them, are trying out new production strategies. They're doing their own experiments and learning how to overcome challenges. We think it's really important for farmers to have a forum and ways to share information and help one another. And so one of our goals is to see stronger networks of farmer-to-farmer learning. We also asked our survey participants their preferences for different information formats. The respondents listed field days and on-farm demonstrations as the most highly preferred format. Other popular formats include conferences and workshops, internet websites, and print periodicals. So this was an online survey that we gave, and so there might be a bias towards informational resources that are online, but we did really see a strong use of internet websites as a preferred source of information. And we think that in addition to really having strong in-person teachings and informational sharing in field days and on-farm workshops, that having strong and reliable internet resources is very important for farmers who are doing their own research and wanting to learn online. In conclusion, what we found in our National Organic Research Agenda survey and listening sessions and other reports that we evaluated is that we have varied research priorities by region, but there are major commonalities and the need for research on weed management and soil health, as well as many other topics that I covered in this presentation. The survey has inspired OFRF to start a new research initiative to fund research on how improving soil health can help manage variable water availability. That was one of the topics that we highlighted in our request for proposals in our grant-making round last year. And our research has also created our major conclusion that overall we need a significant increase in funding for organic research that assists farmers in adopting new practices that enhance both the environmental sustainability and economic viability of their operations. So really creating new opportunities for research and strengthening outreach will really benefit organic farming, and is something that we need to prioritize. If you would like to read the complete National Organic Research Agenda or are taking stock reports, they are available for free at our website, and we are also able to send you a print copy if you would like to have these as permanent resources for your library or to share with students or other people. We also would like to highlight how we have already taken some of these lessons we learned in our report and applied them to our own grant making. In 2015, we funded 3 new projects on soil health, taking into consideration how important soil health was for the farmers in our survey. And we've also created a booklet in English and Spanish on soil health and microbial communities in the soil. This year, we have currently an open request for proposals until December 10th. We have 4 main areas that we have prioritized. These have to do with small grain production, soil health, again, is an ongoing priority, social science research, especially related to organic transition, and then animal production as an area that has been underfunded in the past and we really want to see become a robust area of study. I would really like to thank our different funders, which you can see on the right side of this page, and I'm Joanna Ori. You can email me at joanna@ofrf.org. And the research director is Diana Jerkins, and you can reach her at diana@ofrf.org. We are both available for questions, and I'm delighted to share this report with you and answer any questions and follow up with you individually if you would like more information. Thank you so much for your attention. So I think we have a few questions that have already come in, and if you would like to add them, please write them in the chat box and we'll answer them in the order that you write them. So our first question is there demographic information on the farmers who participated in the survey? And the answer is yes. Our report has, in our survey, we asked farmers many questions having to do with their age, their education level, the size of operations, their income levels, and that information is available both nationally in the report and then in the regional summaries. We'll check for a few. Please feel free to write in your questions. We'll stand by as you do that. Any others? In the meantime, if you have specific research questions that you would like to know about, feel free to contact me, and I'm happy to discuss with you in more detail the results of our survey and listening sessions, and we really would like to maintain connections with educators and researchers, policymakers, so please feel free to contact us, and we will be happy to discuss the report in more detail. I really thank you for your attention, and I look forward to discussing our exciting work again in the future. Is there another question? One more question.
Here. Do you have a preference in your call for research proposals and who leads them? Specifically, how was a proposal from a graduate student looked at in comparison to an experienced researcher?
That's a great question. There's a question about the different types of applicants in our research program. And our research program is open to all applicants. We're really proud that we give grants to people at all levels of their careers, and we also really like to see farmers participate in all of the projects with strong roles, including leading the projects. The question had to do with a graduate student leading the project, and we have really seen wonderful projects come from graduate students who have gone on to have their own research programs. So if you're a graduate student and interested in our program, we certainly recommend that you apply as a principal investigator and you know, put together your own application, and it's something that we really love to fund. Is our projects from people from all stages of their careers, and you're welcome to email me if you have more questions about the grant program.
And the next question, would you accept this year proposals on nutrient quality in organic crops as they vary with management practices?
Yes, that sounds like a wonderful topic, and if you want to follow up with me, you can certainly let me know a bit more about your project, but it definitely seems like that looking at nutrient management would certainly fall into our soil health category, which we do want to see prioritized this year. There's a question, how do I access the previous research funded by OFRF? We have a research database available at ofrf.org, and you can look at all the different projects that we have listed there. We have their final reports, a description of the research, as well as contact information for the researchers if you would like to follow up individually. Okay, I think that is all. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you a wonderful weekend. Take care.